Welcome to World Prism. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. The late autumn sun stretches across Dennis Carlson's North Dakota fields, painting the land in a warm, golden light. It's a scene that should signal the end of a successful season, a time for celebration and relief after months of hard work. But this year, his grain bins remain full. No buyers, no contracts, just silence. The usual bustle of trucks and workers is gone, replaced by an uneasy stillness that hangs over the farm. Months of hard work have yielded a harvest with nowhere to go, as the usual export channels to Asia have vanished. The soybeans, once destined for distant markets, now sit idle, their future uncertain. The culprit isn't weather or pests, but tariffs, political decisions made in Washington and Beijing that have slammed shut his most vital market. These choices, made far from the fields, ripple out to every acre Dennis tends. Dennis, like many American farmers, is now collateral damage in a trade war he never asked for. He's caught in a struggle between nations, powerless to change the outcome. Each day his soybeans sit unsold, their value drops, and his debts grow. The bills keep coming, and the uncertainty gnaws at him and his family. He did everything right, planting, tending, harvesting, yet faces financial ruin through no fault of his own. The sense of helplessness is overwhelming, as years of experience and dedication seem to count for nothing. This isn't just Dennis's story, it's happening across America's heartland. From North Dakota to Iowa, thousands of farmers are facing the same grim reality, their livelihoods threatened by forces beyond their control. The agricultural community, once the nation's backbone, is now caught in a global economic crossfire. Small towns feel the impact too, as local businesses struggle, and families worry about what comes next. The unsold harvest in Dennis's bins is more than lost income. It's a symbol of broken promises and an uncertain future. Each full silo is a reminder of dreams deferred and plans put on hold. For thousands like him, the question is no longer about profit, but survival. Every decision now is about making it through another season, hoping for change. The fate of America's farmers now hangs on forces far beyond their fields, leaving them to wonder if the next harvest will bring hope or more heartbreak. The crisis began with aggressive U.S. tariffs, a move that sent shockwaves through the global economy and signaled a new era of economic confrontation between the world's two largest powers. Among the most dramatic measures was a 100% duty on Chinese electric vehicles, a bold attempt to shield American industries from what officials called unfair competition. The goal was to protect U.S. jobs and manufacturing, but the consequences quickly rippled outward. China struck back with precision, targeting U.S. agriculture, especially soybeans, a $12.6 billion export and a lifeline for countless American farmers. The retaliation was swift and strategic. The message was clear. Economic pain would be returned in kind, hitting America's rural heartland where it hurt most. For many small towns, the impact was immediate and deeply personal. The conflict quickly spread beyond the US and China, as the EU and Canada joined the fray. China retaliated against their agricultural exports too, broadening the trade war's reach. Tariffs on European pork, Canadian canola, and a host of other products soon followed, escalating the dispute into a global food fight that left no major exporter untouched. By September 2024, U.S. soybean sales to China had collapsed to zero, a stunning reversal for what was once America's top agricultural export market. Decades of careful trade relationships unraveled in just a few months, leaving farmers with mountains of unsold crops and a future clouded by uncertainty. The sense of loss was palpable in rural communities. The intended protectionism backfired, putting America's most vital producers in peril and threatening the livelihoods of entire communities dependent on agriculture. Farmers who had planted for export markets now face a sea of unsold crops, with storage facilities overflowing and equipment sitting idle as hope fades. The trade war's consequences have proven deeper and more damaging than anyone anticipated, shaking the very foundation of rural America and leaving scars that may last for years. America's agricultural foundation is now fractured, with no easy fix in sight and a long road to recovery ahead for the nation's farmers. As the U.S. trade war raged, global buyers sought stability elsewhere, searching for new partners who could guarantee steady supplies and fair prices. Canada emerged as a top alternative, quickly stepping up to fill the gap left by American exporters. China, once America's biggest soybean customer, shifted to Canadian and Brazilian suppliers, signing long-term deals that would reshape global trade for years. Canadian canola and pork exports surged as China and others diversified away from U.S. products, eager to avoid future disruptions. Other nations, wary of U.S. unpredictability, also strengthened ties with Canada, seeking reliable partners for their food security and economic stability. Every U.S. product hit by tariffs opened doors for Canadian competitors who were ready and willing to meet global demand. America's reputation as a dependable supplier eroded rapidly as buyers looked elsewhere for certainty and consistency. Once new supply chains are built, they're hard to reverse. Even if tariffs end, the infrastructure and trust have already shifted. Buyers who've invested in Canadian relationships are unlikely to return to U.S. producers soon, having found new partners who deliver on their promises. The damage is lasting, trust lost, markets shifted, and American farmers left behind, struggling to adapt to a new reality. While Washington built barriers, Canada built bridges, and claimed lost U.S. market share, forging new alliances that endure. The realignment threatens U.S. agriculture for years to come, as global buyers grow comfortable with their new suppliers. The world's food supply chains have changed, and America may never fully recover its old position in the global market. The cost of trade war is measured not just in dollars, but in lost relationships, missed opportunities, and a future that looks very different for American agriculture. American farmers are squeezed from both sides. Crop prices have crashed as export markets vanish, while production costs soar due to new tariffs on vital inputs. Soybeans, cotton, and grain sorghum flood the domestic market, driving prices down over 20%. Meanwhile, tariffs have pushed up costs for pesticides, fertilizers, and machinery by double digits. Growing corn, soybeans, or wheat now costs more than ever, erasing profit margins. Even a small setback can push a family farm into bankruptcy. The economic model that sustained rural America is breaking down under this man-made crisis. Farmers are trapped, unable to profit, unable to escape the mounting pressure. To stem the crisis, the U.S. government has poured billions into farm bailouts. Net farm income appears to rise, but only because of a massive surge in direct government payments, over $40 billion in 2025 alone. These payments now compensate for trade war losses, not market success, creating a cycle of dependence. The largest farms reap the biggest benefits, deepening divides within the agricultural community. Aid distribution is controversial, with small and mid-sized farms often left behind. When a government shutdown delayed a new bailout, farmers were left in limbo, exposing the fragility of relying on political fixes. Bailouts are a temporary patch, not a solution. They don't restore lost markets or trust. The sector risks becoming permanently dependent on government support, with no end in sight. While big commodity farms battle global tariffs, small local farms face their own struggles. Cuts to SNAP have slashed income for farmers selling at local markets, reducing access for low-income families and hurting community connections. Some small farms are hit by higher costs for imported supplies, as tariffs ripple through niche supply chains. The divide between commodity and local farmers is growing. Each group faces unique threats. Local farms may seem more resilient, but their fate is tied to the economic health of their communities. Policy changes at home can be just as devastating as global trade wars. Amid crisis, American farmers are forced to adapt or disappear. Many are diversifying crops or adding value, milling flour, pressing oils, to survive in a volatile market. Younger farmers, burdened by debt and lacking deep reserves, are especially vulnerable. Their struggle is critical. The future of U.S. agriculture depends on new generations weathering the storm. Trade policy uncertainty makes long-term planning nearly impossible. Even a partial reopening of export markets can't undo the damage to trust and relationships. The threat of further trade upheaval looms, discouraging investment and innovation. Farmers persevere, but their fate is tied to decisions made far from their fields. The coming years will test their endurance and the nation's commitment to its agricultural roots. Whether America can rebuild its reputation and restore its markets will decide if its farmers can thrive again or face a permanently altered landscape.